Now, I'm setting this little segment against the backdrop of what I said to the audience on Monday when I gave a little overview which showed how we had a creeping rise of a dictatorship in the UK. Go and have a look at Monday's news if you want to see the detail. But out of this clip, I just wanted to highlight some things. I was saying that in Parliament and local authorities, we've got the rise of the Uniparty. I was talking about minimal parliamentary debate on key subjects. I was also talking about the closure of free speech. I was talking about UK special forces being used as a private army at the Cabinet Office. And I was also highlighting my concerns about UK intel and security entering into what I described as opaque bilateral agreements. So against that background, let's have a look at some critical things to do with what's happening in the Middle East. I've chosen the Standard here, and they're reporting on Grant Shapps. No circumstances for UK troops on the ground in the Middle East conflict. But of course, this was the great lie during Syria, when we were promised no military boots on the ground in Syria. And what happened? UK special forces were absolutely put in on the ground. Now, I'm not the only person concerned, so let's have a look at what Jeremy Corbyn had to ask in the House recently. It's very quick. There's a repeat of it, and I've repeated it because the response to him is so amazing. Let's have a listen.
And can he assure us there are no British soldiers on the ground in Gaza?
Speaker, unsurprisingly, I don't share his assessment or his view of the context. And of course, it's clear that the Israeli objective is to defend itself against the terrorist group of Hamas.
And can he assure us there are no British soldiers on the ground in Gaza?
Speaker, unsurprisingly, I don't share his assessment or his view of the context. And of course, it's clear that the Israeli objective is to defend itself against the terrorist group of Hamas.
Well, really, I pass back to our audience. Did you understand the response? Because I found it incredibly difficult. But I think what we were witnessing was cognitive dissonance, that simple question was so potent. Leo Doherty could not give a coherent answer to it. Now, let's look at what Jeremy Corbyn followed up with, and all credit to him here, because a lot of people have been saying, where is Jeremy Corbyn? But on his Twitter feed, he put out this: today I've written to the Foreign Secretary demanding urgent clarification, and he included his letter. So if we bring this up on the screen, and I think it's important to read it, so I'll do that as quickly as I can. Dear Foreign Secretary, yesterday on the 4th of December, the Parliamentary Under Secretary of State for Foreign, Commonwealth and Development Affairs answered an urgent question on the humanitarian situation in Gaza. I asked the Minister if he could assure the House that there were no British soldiers on the ground in Gaza. The Minister refused to answer. His failure to provide this assurance is extremely alarming. More than 15,000 people have been killed in Gaza, including 6,000 children. 1.8 million people have been displaced. Almost half of all housing units have been destroyed. The UK government already provides ample political support to an Israeli army that is committing war crimes in front of our eyes. Could you confirm whether the UK government is providing military personnel too? In the aftermath of horror, we need voices for peace. The terrorist attack by Hamas was deplorable and must be condemned. That cannot justify the massacre of the Palestinian people, who are being punished for a crime they did not commit. We are witnessing unconscionable death, destruction. People in this country have a right to know if British troops are involved in its execution. And finally, I'd like to take this opportunity to reissue our demand for an immediate and permanent ceasefire. So I don't think anybody can complain with what he's asked for in that letter, but the main thing is a complete lack of transparency as to what the British government is up to. And I'm going to bring people's attention back onto what is happening between British military and Israeli military. I've chosen BICOM, the British Israel Communications and Research Centre report here. I had to look at this photograph twice because I thought they were holding hands at one stage, but of course that's not the case. But here is all the detail about the British Armed Forces and the Israeli Defence Forces signing a joint agreement to strengthen their relationship. Well, my question is, what is this relationship? Was it ever discussed in Parliament? And did the public ever really know what was happening? I would suggest not. And I'm going to add to this that we've already got reports now about supposed British veterans, a very glamorous British veteran, trying to join Israel Defence Forces to fight against Hamas. We've got the Jewish Voice for Labour here, British fighters in Israel's military. Is it legal? Well, that is the real question. Is it legal in a constitutional sense in UK? And here's Sky News reporting the sad death of a British teenager killed in Gaza while fighting for the Israeli Defence Forces. So I'm going to suggest we have no idea what the British government is up to with relationship to the war in Gaza. But one thing we can be very clear of, we are fully involved in the despicable military action on the civilians in Gaza.
As we are in Ukraine as well, of course.
Indeed.